And welcome to this special post-debate edition of Hannity. We're live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And tonight, the 5 remaining GOP presidential hopefuls, well, they duked it out on stage in what was a make-or-break debate for some of the candidates ahead of the primary in this all-important state. Now, over the next hour, you will hear directly from Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich, and Rick Santorum. But first, pollster Frank Luntz is here with some debate reaction. Mr. Luntz, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
Fine, thank you. First thing I saw tonight,
what?
I've never seen it in a debate, and I've been to debates now for 16 years, a standing ovation in the middle of a debate. Remember, there's only 5 candidates up there, so you would assume that only 20% would award them their support. Newt Gingrich got a standing ovation, and he did so fighting with your own Juan Williams over the whole welfare issue.
Well, he did have an interesting run and interesting line there, and I'll ask him about it when he's on a little later. Get a job, a better job, own a job. And, you know, Juan was asking about the issue of jobs in the comments, welfare president, and food stamp president, et cetera, and how many people are on welfare and food stamps.
And it was like Gingrich challenged him over the elites, that only the elites are opposed to people making money. Only the elites are opposed to income. It just lit up the audience, and they continued to applaud right into the commercial break.
All right, now speaking of lighting up the audience, I think we've got what sounds like fireworks going off behind us here in South Carolina. All right, now, who, in your opinion, won the debate tonight?
Well, the issue now is it's different between who won the debate and who wins in South Carolina.
Yeah, but we ask you that question every single time we have you on. It's got to. You've come up with an answer every time.
Gingrich had more of the applause lines, more of the sound bites when he talked about defense policy. And it sounds like he's blowing up out there right now.
This is the grand finale because you stepped on the stage, Frank. So
yes, this is like Fort Sumter all around me. This is live television.
Yep, this is live television.
Gingrich, on several different occasions, he talked about how 99 weeks is an associate's degree. You should be able to find a job within 99 weeks. He talked about, and I think the best line of the entire debate was Andrew Jackson had a good idea what to do with our enemies. Kill them. Those kinds of statements are what propelled Gingrich to the leader of the pack back in December until Mitt Romney's super PAC took him down. I think you'll see some movement from this debate.
All right. Now, right now, Mitt Romney has about an 8-point lead if you look at the real clear political average. New polls coming out all the time, but he has pulled away slightly. Will this debate have an impact? How much do you think?
Well, the issue for Romney is that he was attacked for the first 15 minutes on Bain. And that the entire conversation, and this is where you and I may disagree, I think this will have long-term negative consequences. And I think it's Mitt Romney's right to say to the other candidates, be very careful what you say, because economic freedom, if you start to undermine the principles of capitalism and the free market system, you are undermining your re-election hopes, and you're undermining Republicans from the top of the ticket all the way down.
All right, that came up, but, you know, Charles Krauthammer said coming into this debate tonight that Mitt Romney needed a good answer for that question. Did Mitt Romney meet the standard that Charles Krauthammer had set up for him?
Every time that he gets a question like this, he pivots against Obama, which is a very smart approach. Mitt Romney has taken the high road when it comes to other Republicans, at least in his debate performances. Now, his super PACs have been attacking the others viciously. But you got to give Mitt Romney credit. When he stands before the stage, and there'll be about 7 million people who watched him tonight, when he does it there, he is very loath to attack other candidates. He believes that Barack Obama is the opponent.
What about the super PAC issue? It came up early in the debate with Rick Santorum, later in the debate with Newt Gingrich. Do you think that he answered that issue satisfactorily?
No, on that issue he can't. He tries to suggest that he's not responsible for it and then tries to defend some of the information that are in the ads. It doesn't sit well with people. Americans believe that whether it is your direct campaign or someone who's operating on your behalf, you're still responsible for it, and they would rather have Mitt Romney and Santorum and Ron Paul and Newt Gingrich stop with the super PACs.
But the reality is, Newt Gingrich at last week said, okay, I'm calling on my super PAC because they can't have contact with the super PACs. We all know that. But I'm calling on my super PAC to make sure that everything they say is factually accurate. In other words, if you're supporting me, I would urge you to make sure whatever you're advertising is true. Why didn't maybe Romney do that early on? He could have taken the high ground on that.
He could have taken the high ground, and he did to some degree tonight in his final answer, but he was pushed into it. I do think he's a better debater today, and when he comes up here, he deserves that credit. The other candidates have made him quicker on his feet and have made him more impressive when it comes to not only defending his record, but explaining a vision for the future of the country.
Let's go to the specific exchange early in the debate between Rick Santorum, Senator Santorum, and Mitt Romney. Now, it wasn't over the most crucial issue about prisoners having the right to vote, convicts, felons, but it was interesting. It also dealt with the super PAC issue as well. Who got the better of that exchange?
When Romney said to Santorum, "Stop it," there's something that I've learned in all the testing and all the focus groups. 3 words are better than 4. 2 words are better than 3. Stop it wins that conversation.
So you think that, in that sense, Romney won that exchange?
Santorum needed to draw a distinction, and Santorum was able to achieve tonight the differences between him and Mitt Romney. And there are very few differences between Santorum, Gingrich, and Perry. But if Romney were more explicit about his response to these attacks, he would be more effective up on the stage.
Right, let's talk about Rick Perry and Governor Perry and also Ron Paul. How'd they do in the debate?
Rick Perry has done an increasingly impressive job, and maybe too little too late, but he was clearly the outsider, and he drew a distinction between the other candidates, and whenever they would argue with each other, Perry would try to jump in to say, hey, I'm not from Washington. I'm not one of these.
But is that kind of repetitive? Is that going back to the states? I agree with him, actually, on substance.
He was the first candidate to talk about a war on religion, which we know that Republicans in South Carolina care about, and a war in the Catholic Church. He was the first candidate to raise economic issues, to raise the tax issue. But here's what I thought was interesting. Mitt Romney said that the top tax rate should be 25%. Right. Then Newt Gingrich said 15%. Then Ron Paul said 0%.
15% flat tax.
It got lower and lower and lower. As
Ron Paul said 0.
0. How do you go below 0?
Yeah, well, you can't. But, all right, Frank Luntz, appreciate your analysis.
Got it, Sean.
All right, thanks so much for being with us. And coming up, the candidates, they're now starting to enter the spin room where we are. And former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, he's up first. He'll join us next. And then still to come, right after Governor Romney, you'll hear from former Speaker Newt Gingrich and former Senator Rick Santorum. We'll have much more of this special post-debate edition of Hannity. We're live. We're in beautiful Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as we continue.